stereo,
okay.
like listening, to high fidelity.
So you got a hi-fi setup.
Yeah.
That's expensive. How much did that run you?
A little more than 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you listen to stuff in like vinyl?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I should have had you come up and take a peek. It's pretty impressive.
Is that upstairs or?
Yeah, it's in my study. That's my listening room and study. So I have a chair and the stereo. It's not the best sized room, but it's yeah. I mean, the speakers are like 75, 80.
Oh yeah. What's
So
the company that makes them?
So Magico is the name of the company, the speakers. Then I've got a Constellation amps, dual mono amps, and a Macintosh preamp, and an acoustic solid turntable that's this work of art thing it's pretty cool. But the cartridge for the table was 10,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's nuts. I started when in college, I got to college and I contacted my roommate. I had 2 roommates, but one was blind. And he had, I'm into stereo, of course, because he's blind. And so I said, I got this great stereo. We'll combine our stereo systems, if in our room, it'll be great. So he got there like a day before I did, and I walked in the room, and there's this monster stereo set with reel-to-reel tape and turntable, and I'm like, I have like a Radio Shack,
right.
Pair of speakers and a little amplifier, and the whole thing cost like $180. And his stuff was, this was in 1978, and his stuff was, a couple $1,000. And I just looked at all of it, and he said, "Well, did you bring your stereo?" I said, "Nope." Decided not to. But anyway, I got into it back then with him, and then I had the same in college. I got some pretty nice speakers, nice stuff, and then I sort of kept that for probably 10, 15 years, and then finally, after med school, I had more money, so I sort of upgraded back about 15 years ago, and then in the last few years, I really upgraded a lot.
I've heard the hi-fi quality is such that like once you delve into it, it's hard to go back to.
Well, it is. I mean, and the other problem is, it's probably, I can't imagine doing too much more upgrading because my hearing is not going to get any better, and so it's like do it now, and get the best thing you can get, and now, I mean, any little tweak would cost,
right,
amazing amount of money. So the only thing I don't have that I haven't really gotten into at all are like the music server or digital stuff. So I mean, I've got a CD or a transport, and I've got the turntable, but I don't have like a Roon or one of these. I don't know that much about it. But my preamp is supposedly great. It has a great DAC in it, and so I'm set to do it. I just need to learn more about it. And there's this high-end stereo store in Montgomery, Hanson Audio. Mm-hmm. It's right next to Eddie Merlot's there.
Yeah.
And so I went there and listened to some stuff, and I actually had the guy from there come and set up, make sure my turntable cartridge and everything was set up right. So I'll probably go over there someday and just, try to learn more about it and think about doing that. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's a great way to hear lots of new music cheap without buying expensive albums or CDs.
Do you have the whole room proofed?
Yeah, soundproof. It not soundproof, but sound treated. So that was one of the first things I did. So if you see me, you might have seen it because on the Zoom meetings, if I'm home,
that's the room you're in.
That's the room. It's got all this this black and white stuff on the ceilings. And so what room are you in? So yeah, that's my listening room.
I just assumed you were downstairs somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's upstairs above, sort of next to it above the garage.
I forgot you had a blind roommate. Did he feel like because of that impairment that he felt like his other senses were heightened and he was really able to appreciate that hi-fi quality?
I don't really know because I mean that's all he knows. You know what I mean? I think he had very good ears and he could definitely hear things I couldn't hear. But he became blind. He wasn't born blind. He became blind when he was about 13. So, have
you kept in touch with him at all?
Well, yeah. Until about 10 years ago, he passed away. Mm-hmm. So he was born with bilateral retinoblastoma, and so back in 1960, the treatment was enucleate the eye with the bigger tumor load and radiate the other eye, which they did, and he did great. No problems, good vision. Son of an anesthesiologist on the East Coast. And then he was like 11. He began to gradually lose his vision in his only eye, and no one could find anything wrong. And this was 1971. And so he went, his father's a physician. He went everywhere. He saw the president of the American Academy of Ophthalmology, a well-known institution, who said, see a psychiatrist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're faking. He had a pneumoencephalogram, which is the old test where they basically get rid of your spinal fluid and inject air to highlight the outline of the central nervous system. Very painful. Couldn't find anything. So the next year, 1972, is when CAT scans came out, and they found his optic nerve sheath meningioma, which they had no treatment for, and he just went blind. And so that was when he was like 12, 13. And then I met him when we were 18, and when we were juniors, the summer between sophomore and junior year, the tumor was growing, and so they enucleated the other eye. And so he had bilateral prostheses, and that's one of the reasons I became interested in ophthalmology. I wasn't set on ophthalmology, but it was interesting to me. And ironically, of course, he had a nerve sheath meningioma, and I became a neuro-ophthalmologist. Right. So there was that was just sort of coincidence, I think.